All right, hello and welcome to Day One Patch Podcast episode. I don't even have it up. What is it?
556?
556?
You were just reading the show notes. What the heck?
Yeah, but I got to tab over to the Word document. Jeez, I
guy
don't need
doesn't
all
know
these
the word.
autoplay videos going too here. No, IGN.
One of the best things that I've done recently is some very vigorous manual tab organization. And every time I finish something, I close those damn tabs. Like, get it out of here, man.
I never have more than like 4 or 5 tabs open ever. That's it.
That's I'd say my average now. And then it used to be like a lot, not hundreds. Some people are like in the hundreds.
Yeah.
I
know
will
people
keep,
who have dozens every day.
yeah,
like,
and that's
all
that's
day.
crazy.
That's a lot to me.
All right, well, I am your host, Ryan Johnson. I am currently sick, so apologies for the sniffles and coughs and voice.
How many tabs do you have open, Ryan?
Right now, 5.
All right.
Respectable.
How many do I
I
have?
don't, even at work, I don't keep it, I don't keep
One.
many.
1 tab.
I don't know why these people have like dozens of tabs open. It's like you can't effectively use all of them.
Leaving
at
it
the same
open
time.
so you don't have to open it again later.
Yeah, it's so you don't have to bookmark it too. I do use
Not worth
multiple
bookmarking.
tabs on mobile, but that's because I have multiple web apps open.
Well, this is the weird thing, Matt. I use my favorites bar, and you said that was weird.
I use mine
Yeah,
too.
I don't use
But
that.
like that is a perfectly reasonable thing if you don't want the tab open. Like I go to Mac Rumors quite a bit because I'm an Apple fanboy. And instead of just having the Mac Rumors tab open all the time, it's in my favorites bar, and so I just hit Mac Rumors, and then boom, I'm looking at Mac Rumors.
I don't use toolbars anymore. It is gone.
But a bunch of open tabs is the way.
Well, I don't do that either now. Other than
Oh, okay.
on mobile, like I said, but that's more because if something doesn't have a mobile app and it has a web app, then I use that.
The hell was that noise?
We didn't
Cat
hear
pod
it,
did something
so
weird.
it's in your house.
What was that noise?
I mean, that is the horrible thing about living alone. You hear something, and it's like, well, I'm dead.
First conclusion drawn. You're dead.
Well, yeah. What am I gonna do if someone's breaking in? I'm dead.
I mean,
Well,
you could
only
fight
because you're
them.
sick. No, he's too sick to fight back.
Oh man,
All right.
You want to go get some stuff for Tim?
Yeah, I know a spot where this guy
geez.
can't fight back. That's crazy.
That's Matt Lawrence here with me,
It is
not physically, but on the Zoom.
from the bunker.
Tim Spence also here.
Also here.
We've been recording on Zoom since the pandemic. I think we did like 2 in-person ones after that.
I did one with Adriano as well once.
And then I guess me and Matt, when my internet's died, I've gone to your place and then we've recorded on my MacBook.
Yep.
I did one alone that I never told you guys about.
Oh man,
What?
it's a
Didn't
second
even
lost
upload it.
episode.
All right, let's Matt, do you got a video game fun fact for us?
I do indeed.
All right, take it away.
It is all about Anno, but not just the mainline entries. So if you don't know what Anno is, it's a long-standing strategy series that's been on the PC and more recently on the consoles as well. But it also had several different iterations and attempts at making mobile apps. And I don't just mean mobile as in like iOS and Android, smartphone things. It was also way back on old Java phones and even some handheld things such as the DS. So let's go down this list here. We start out here with probably the most well-known one because it's kind of a standard base builder game. This is called Anno Build an Empire. On iOS, it launched on November 20th, 2014, and on Android, it was April 23rd of 2015. It was a freemium standalone spin-off. It did not play off of any of the PC games at the time, unlike some of the other ones that we're going to be talking about. The core PC entry, if you want kind of a timeline around this time, was Anno 1404 and Anno 2070. So both 2009 and 2011, respectively. Both of those are the premium sort of PC titles that we all kind of know and love if you're an Anno fan. And Build an Empire borrowed, so that's this game, borrowed the colonial era theme and resource change, but it was designed for touch devices and a microtransaction business model. So what was this gameplay description? What was this gameplay like? So you probably already got a bit of a sense of it, but this is a free-to-play city builder that begins on a small island. Players lay roads and buildings and expand to multiple islands and manage more than 150 building types and up to 60 resources. Social features allowed chat and trading. There was a freemium economy where construction times can be accelerated with premium currency. So sort of a Anno spin on a traditional mobile game base builder. Now, how did this thing do? Well, AppBrain reported that the Android version was downloaded over 1 million times before it was removed from the Play Store, because it is gone now, with user ratings averaging at about 2.38 out of 5 from about 37,000 reviews. So was this thing, kind of critically received? What was it? Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag. No one was like very, very happy with it, but no one really hated it. So 148 Apps criticized the interface. They said that there was some awkward road placing mechanics, and they didn't really like the freemium mechanics. They considered it a generic city builder, and they scored it at about 2.5 out of 5. Multiplayer.it, however, it fared a little bit better. They gave it a 6.2 out of 10. And they said that the game contained many Anno-style features, but unfortunately it had clumsy touch controls and intrusive microtransactions. And of course, the game is no longer available, unfortunately. It was removed at some point after the March 2016 update. So the game was around for a little bit of time, but unfortunately it is gone and servers appear to be inactive. So now you're thinking, okay, maybe they're going to try something else. They're going to try another Anno game, maybe a full Anno game, quote unquote. No, they went the companion app route because it's 2015. Of course they did. So this is Anno 2205 Asteroid Miner. This was released on November 5th, 2015 for iOS and Android, alongside the title in which it's a companion to Anno 2205. So it functioned as a companion app where you could mine resources in the mobile game, and those resources could then be transferred to the PC corporation via Uplay. Excuse me. So now Anno 2205, it was a city building game. It was not sort of a standard Anno game, if you will. So that's kind of why I guess it also has this companion app counterpart. So they were trying some new stuff, Ubisoft was, because these are Ubisoft games. So Anno 2205 was more sort of fixed. So in traditional Anno games, you kind of start either on an island or you just start with a ship with supplies, and there's a bunch of islands kind of out there in the world, and you and 3 or 4 other, maybe let's say NPCs, that's how I used to play it, would all rush to an island, and you're trying to explore, find a good island with good spacing, good resources, and all this stuff. Unfortunately, 2205 is a little bit different and is not very well critically received. It's a city building simulation still, but it is set on Earth and the Moon. An Asteroid Miner, which is its companion app, the one we're talking about, is actually not any of this. It's not a base builder game. It's nothing like that. It is a match 3 puzzle where players destroy asteroids to collect ore for the main game. Now, if you like your match 3s, there were over 180 missions and 120 upgrades. Players strategically would match asteroids to mine ore and improve a space station over time. AppBrain recorded about 100,000 plus downloads and actually had a pretty high user rating at 4.38 out of 5. Now, there were that many, professional reviews. This was a companion app. However, user ratings were rather high. Like I mentioned, the 4.38 out of 5 on Android. Now, the app was removed from app stores with patch 1.8.2 of the PC game in October of 2018 and is now no longer downloadable. So, we're going to go further back in time this time now, back to 2006, specifically Anno 1701. This is going to be a lesser known one. I had no idea this even existed. This was launched in October 26th of 2006, couldn't say that, for Java-enabled mobile phones. Coinciding with the PC release of Anno 1701, it was targeted at Nokia and Sony Ericsson devices. That's before Xperia and all that. I forgot that Ericsson devices even existed. So what was the gameplay like? So it was rounds-based gameplay set in the archipelago. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Players explore islands, mine raw minerals, and look after settlers while fending off rivals. And each game features a limited number of turns. Victory comes from achieving promotions, such as becoming an aristocrat or occupying all the islands. There were only 2 unit types, ships and cannons, that can be built. Trading and warfare are simplified. There were 4 mini games, including trading, building, attacking, and defending. Simulating each aspect and allowing players to save money if they perform well. Now, this is way back in the day, so we don't know for sure how many downloads this thing got, but it's estimated at about 2,500 downloads for the JAR file. That was the extension they used to use back then, JAR. Now, Pocket Gamer actually did review this game, and Pocket Gamer still exists today. But they rated it at a 3.5 out of 5. The review praised the inclusion of minigames and the novelty of cross-platform link, but criticized the limited strategic depth due to the fixed commodity values and only 2 unit types. Now, here's the thing. It was notable, and I mentioned the sort of crossover thing. It was notable for way back then in the Java days. It let players transfer coins earned in the mobile game to the PC version via a WAP code, one of the first examples of cross-platform connectivity. So not only are they kind of pushing the limits of phones at this time and going into a market that's kind of questionable, but they're playing with the sort of companion app, cross-platform, crossplay kind of example, or what the future would have become, which is where we are now. And then we had a Nintendo DS/Wii title, Anno Create a New World. This is released on May 22nd, 2009 in Europe, and also in North America between the 17th and the 23rd of June in 2009, and for also the Nintendo DS and the Wii. The DS version is often called Anno 1404 Create a New World, while the Wii/DS North American release was marketed as Dawn of Discovery. So that's something that's a little, I guess, Easter egg is Anno 1404 is called just that in some parts of the world. Sometimes it has that subtitle, like Dawn of Discovery. But when I bought Anno 1404 on the PC, so not this sort of mobile title, when I bought it on the PC, it was just Dawn of Discovery. So it's definitely like a regional naming thing. Now, this game, Anno Create a New World, launched slightly before the PC title, Anno 1404, offering a more streamlined story-driven experience tailored to handhelds. The story mode follows King George, sending his sons William and Edward to discover new lands to relieve England's famine, if I can say that. Players build settlements, gather resources such as wood, stone, food, spices, and cloth. You can upgrade citizens and maintain their happiness. They expand to multiple islands, and you can play story mode or continuous play as well, which is very popular, at least among, I don't really like story modes in RTS. I go right for the continuous play. The DS version uses touch screen controls and includes treasure hunting minigames and a simplified tech tree. Unfortunately, there are no reliable sales figures for the DS or Wii versions. However, Pocket Gamer did a review for this as well, specifically for the DS, where they gave it 3.5 out of 5, praising the refined interface and balanced pacing, but noting that experienced Anno fans might find it too easy. So sort of a casual entry into here. Now, Metacritic does list the DS version with a Metacritic score of approximately 78 out of 100 based on 14 critic reviews. So this game was actually pretty well liked. And after this, we have Anno 1701 Dawn of Discovery. This is released on the 22nd of August in 2007 in Europe and March 4th in 2008 in North America for the DS. It is an adaptation of Anno 1701, which released on the PC on October 26, 2006, and it is tailored to DS hardware. It is stylus-driven, and its interface replicates the PC game. Players prevent starvation, collect wood, build houses, pubs, churches, and upgrade citizens across social classes. And the DS version includes a tutorial and quick jump icon to manage multiple islands. Pocket Gamer once again reviewed this, awarding the game 4 to 5 stars, praising the intuitive controls and micromanaging, but noting that it may feel a little old-fashioned. And then, just a few more here, we have Anno... we have Anno the Harbor. This was released on March 15th, 2010 for iPhone/iPod Touch. It is a spin-off of the aforementioned DS/Wii Dawn of Discovery version from 2009. There is no direct PC counterpart for this one. The game eschews the city building in favors of managing a busy harbor. Players assign ships to docks, unload goods, and sell requested items such as wood, bread, food, cloth, etc. via drag and drop controls. Each level has a cash target and a time limit, and the difficulty increases with more goods and larger ships. There are 36 levels across 4 locations. It's some nice polished graphics and a rousing soundtrack, if you will, that mimic the Anno aesthetic, with Pocket Gamer once again coming in here with a review at 4 out of 5. We also have Anno 1602 on the mobile phone. This is another Java game. So Pocket Gamer reviewed this Java mobile game in February 2006. This is a game that was released for early Nokia and Sony Ericsson phones once again. It is an adaptation of the PC title, and I believe it is the first Anno PC title. Anno 1602, which came out in 1998, is a simplified adaptation of that PC game. where players would expand the Queen's Empire by colonizing islands or earning promotions with a fixed number of moves. Resource management is pared down to a few assets, such as fortifications, production facilities, ships, and cannons. And there were also 4 mini games in this one as well. And last but not least, Anno 1503. This was also on the mobile phone in 2004. It was released on January 12th of that 2004. It's one of the earliest attempts to adapt a complex PC simulation to a mobile device. Game tasks players with strategic planning, diplomacy, exploration, and combat. You could explore different continents, trade with other cultures, and build growing cities. Players decided whether to follow a peaceful or warlike approach. And unfortunately, given the limitations of early smartphones, the game simplified production chains and isometric graphics compared to the PC version. And once again, no sales or downloads numbers are here. But there is one small, I guess, an additional fun fact. There is no official Anno game for the PSP. However, a homebrew Anno 1604 2D project exists. It is a fan project on the PSP. It is not an official Ubisoft release. And so I went into this thing thinking there was going to be about 3 of these games because I have the DS game, and I remember playing the city builder, Anno Build an Empire, and it just kept going. Like, it was just, it's this game. We tried this, we tried that, we tried this. And so kind of a crazy little mobile history for the Anno series.
That's crazy, man.
It's kind of nuts considering all the PC, all the full PC titles that also came out.
It's a much bigger series than I realized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I've been very naive to it.
Matt, you play a lot of Anno. Which ones have you played?
I've played 1602, so I played the first one. I played 1602 as a kid too. I got my fucking ass kicked, dude. Played the first game. I did not play 1503. I played 1701. I played 1404 / Dawn of Discovery. I've played what else? I played 2205. I've also played 1800. I love 1800. 1800 is really good. I know some people didn't, but that game's good. I played what was the one? There's another future one. It's not 2205. It's like there's so many damn years now, but there's another one that came out where it's the Eden Corporation versus the Global Trust. That game's fucking awesome too. I played the shit out of that. And I swear there's another one in there. I've not played Pax Romana, which I believe is Anno 117 Pax Romana. I've not played that's the latest one. But yeah.
I've only played that one Anno with you on stream that one time.
Yep.
So that was what, Anno 1800?
Yep.
Now,
that's Anno 1800.
It's not like Civilization where it moves through the ages, right? Do you always stay as in the 1800s?
Correct. You stay in the 1800s, but you do progress. So basically, you're trying to progress your people. So you progress from, I can't remember the exact what it is, but it's like, let's say settlers to citizens to like aristocrats to whatever. And then they all have like unique needs. And so eventually it's like, yo, these people want this thing and that requires electricity. And so, but the thing is they'll also require things from other regions. So in Anno 1800, you send out like a captain, like literally a ship captain will come to you and be like, I want to do an expedition. Will you fund it? You fund the expedition. You make choices in like he'll come up and be like, there's a storm. What do we do? And there'll be a few options. So you make all these choices and then you'll appear in the other map. And then you go there and it's like, oh, okay, this place has spices. My map didn't. So now I have to bring it back and forth. And also like, if you have the multiple expansions, there's more than just that. So in Anno 1800, there's like the main map and then there's like one other one. But in the expansions, they add more. They add like Africa. They add a northern region. And so it's all about that.
Man, Anno 1602, 1998. God damn.
Yep, I played the shit out of that game too. I played the absolute shit out of that game. Did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not.
Apparently it released first in Europe and didn't come to North America until 2000, February 1st, 2000.
Yeah, because it was done by a place called Sunflowers, I think, Sunflower Interactive or something like that.
Yeah, Sunflowers Interactive in the EU, and then GT Interactive in North America.
Right. Okay. Also, I did find that game. I couldn't remember the name of. It's Anno 2070. That one is probably like my flagship one. I do like 1602 is definitely super nostalgic. 1701 is really good for the time. 1404 also good for the time, but 1404, if I remember correctly, tried to introduce the different biomes without separate maps, so it felt a bit crowded. And then 2070 just, in my opinion, like just nailed it. I had a terrible incident one time where there's like these sort of like minor nations. They're sort of like city states, but they all have like a caricature or whatever. So the one guy is like, he's an oil baron. And so he spawns on an island and he just, naturally has an oil, whatever, and you can trade with him. And he pissed me off. So I fired a torpedo from my base and hit his tanker right outside my base. And it created an ecological disaster because that game, your ecosystem can collapse. It disastered like my ships, like my fishing industry, everything. I was playing with a buddy and he was the science, he had like a huge science population, and I had to pay him copious amounts of money to dump into research to figure out how to build a scrubber so I could scrub my coast because my island was a disaster. Like it was like a wasteland because it was all this oil. And then I was also at war at the time because I had torpedoed somebody. So it wasn't great.
Jesus. All right. Well, thank you for that, Matt.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right. Big news. Big old news this week.
The biggest
big news pieces. First is Phil Spencer retiring from Xbox. Sarah Bond resigning from Xbox. Matt Booty promoted as Microsoft AI exec. Asha Sharma is named new Xbox boss. Apparently an exclusive to IGN. So Phil Spencer has been at Microsoft since he joined as an intern in 1988. This is from IGN, by the way. With Xbox, and with Xbox since the software giant launched its first console in 2001. He's retiring. Sources familiar with the matter who are not authorized to speak publicly confirmed to IGN, although it's now, I think, public because I think Xbox released a public statement or something. Spencer's retirement is effective on Monday, February 23rd, which is super quick.
Man, do you just show up? Like, are you retired this weekend or are you still like answering emails and like doing your thing this weekend?
That's a good question. I imagine executives don't really have weekends, right? Not in the real sense, probably, right?
I couldn't tell you.
It seems weird for them just to be like, I'm not answering emails on the weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Xbox president... Sorry?
I know I don't.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Xbox president Sarah Bond, long thought to be by many, both inside and outside of Microsoft, to be Spencer's heir apparent, has resigned. The new CEO of Microsoft Gaming will be Asha Sharma, currently the president of Microsoft's core AI product. Finally, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty is being promoted to Chief Content Officer and will work closely with Sharma. This was from the CEO Satya Nadella. He said, quote, "I want to thank Phil for his extraordinary leadership and partnership. Over 38 years at Microsoft, including 12 years leading gaming, Phil helped transform what we do now and how we do it. Last fall, I shared... Then Phil Spencer, we also have a message from him to his staff. He said, last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. From that moment, we aligned on approaching this transition with intention, ensuring stability and strengthening the foundation we've built. Xbox has always been more than a business. It's a vibrant community of players, creators, and teams who care deeply about what we build and how we build it. And it deserves a thoughtful, deliberate plan for the road ahead. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the role of CEO. And I want to be the first to welcome her to this incredible team. Working with her over the past several months has given me tremendous confidence. She brings genuine curiosity, clarity, and deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and the decisions that shape our future. We know this is an important moment for our fans, partners, and team, and we're committed to getting it right. I'll remain in an advisory role through the summer to support a smooth handoff. So I guess he's not effectively retired. It's just he's no longer CEO as of Monday. But I was listening to a couple podcasts talking about this, and they brought up how it's very strange for it to be Monday. Like,
yeah, why not a Friday?
Well, no, not that. But why wouldn't they have said, like 3 months from now, or he's retiring even a month, 30 days, or something?
Right.
Why is it so sudden? And the speculation there is he's not so much retiring as being
forced out.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts?
I guess it's always hard to speculate on what the reason would be, because it could be anything, right? There's a million reasons. But he has a lot of tenure. So if they were going to fire him, there's a reason to believe that would be a hell of a severance package. But it's
one of those things where it's like, we're going to help you keep your dignity and ask for your resignation. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because then even though we all kind of know he's quote unquote fired, he gets like to go off saying I resigned, I'm leaving.
Well,
They do this all the
he
time.
doesn't even
and-
get that. He's retiring. It's like almost like more honorable because you're like, yo, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. But the timing is weird, not only because there seem to be in a transitionary period. It doesn't really feel like a lot of Phil's work that he's set up is completed. It's Xbox's 25th anniversary. And to leave in the middle of all that seems very peculiar. And it was right after they had a horrible earnings report where Xbox was basically down in every segment in terms of revenue. So,
Wouldn't that be your reason
mentioned.
what?
to kick him out? Wouldn't that be a reason?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So it's not so much he's retiring as they're like, we're going to let you go, but maybe he was planning on retiring anyway, But it all seems to be very sudden to me. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned before, where it would have made more sense if it was at the beginning of like a new hardware era type thing.
But
Yeah, like
what do you guys?
Well, I was going to actually ask about that. So, like, I was thinking about this because we were talking in the Discord before this about that exact thing that Tim just said, which is like, what would be the time to leave? And it's like, oh, they're about to start something. It'd be weird it's weird for him to leave now. I'm wondering, like, would they be more worried if something launched and then he left? Is it like, hey, like you oversaw the launch of this and then 3 months later you left? Like, do you need like really hardcore sort of hands-on leadership right after a launch or something like that? Or if something goes awry, you have somebody there and you don't want like a stranger there. Like, it's almost like the best time to leave would be not near the beginning or end. I would almost estimate if you're like choosing a perfect time.
Yeah, that's a good point because the next consoles probably aren't going to come even. It's like we're looking at 2028, 2029 as a potential start of the next generation. That's a long time from now. So,
well, for PlayStation that's the rumor.
Yeah, but I imagine Xbox is probably going to fall because PlayStation is doing that because of RAM prices, and they don't want to launch a next gen console at $1,000 to start.
Right.
So Xbox is, I would imagine, thinking the same thing. Even the Steam machine, they haven't given us a price on it yet. And so if Phil Spencer was thinking, oh, I'm going to retire after the next gen, but then it got pushed back, maybe he's like, all right, I gotta leave now or something,
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other thing, I also brought that up in Discord, is like maybe the guy's tired of firing people. You know what I mean? Like the industry is contracting right now, and he's probably gonna have to fire a lot more people. He's probably gonna have to shut down more studios. He probably gets a ton of hate online every time this happens, And maybe he's just sick of it. Maybe he's just like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, he's been there for a long time.
It's not like he's not set for life. So.
Oh yeah. All right, let's talk about Sharma. She is a former VP of Product and Engineering at Meta and former Instacart COO, who is also a board member of the Home Depot. She joined Microsoft in 2024. In her email to Microsoft staff, she wrote in part, quote, "My first job is simple. Understand what makes this work and protect it. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovative gameplay, and creative excellence. We will empower our studios, invest in iconic franchises, and back bold new ideas. We will take risks. We will enter new categories and markets where we can add real value, grounded in what players care most about most. I promoted Matt Booty in honor of this commitment. He understands the craft and the challenges of building great games. He has led teams that deliver award-winning work and has earned the trust of game developers across the industry. Second, the return of Xbox. We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who have invested with us for the past 25 years, and to the developers who build the expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. We will celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with console, which has shaped who we are. It connects us to the players and fans who invest in Xbox, and to the developers who build ambitious experiences for it. Gaming now lives across devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of the communities we serve. We will break down barriers so developers can build once they reach players. We will break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players everywhere without compromise. Third, future of play. We are witnessing the reinvention of play. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have: iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love. We will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are always games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. End quote. So that's a lot. And it's a lot of corporate speak as like, don't freak out. We got our hands on the reins. And I always hate this the like we're focusing on play. It's like no one says that. No one talks like that. Why do you do that?
It's the pitch to nobody, right? Nobody's asking for it, and nobody wants to be doing it, but they just do it to be saying something.
Right. Copilot. I think Copilot wrote all these for them.
It's not just a commitment to play. It's also the future of gaming.
So how do you guys feel about this though? What do you I mean, they brought up a good point on Kind of Funny that this letter here from her, they're saying the right things, but what will they actually do is the question.
Well, when they were saying that, like, oh, we're not going to focus on, like, milking these, like, having these IPs as cash cows that we're just going to sit and milk. Like, the thing is that they are going to do that. They're just going to say, oh, it's not our primary objective. And it's like, okay, it's fine to say that. It's fine to say that your primary objective is, like, making a quality product that, brings gamers together and allows people to have shared experiences or whatever. That's fine. But to straight up say, in no uncertain terms, we're not going to milk it, is just, we know that's a lie. We know it's a lie. And it's, they can say, we're going to focus on having, like, good games primarily, like, first and foremost, while also milking it. They, like, both can be true at the same time, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the definition of milking is subjective, right? It's like, if you put out a new game in the franchise every 3 years, is that milking it, or is that just them using the IP? Because they need to use the IP.
But using an IP every year and releasing a yearly release when it doesn't really iterate on the last one, and there's no reason to have the release short of just being this is this year's version, I would consider that to be milking it.
I kind of feel like Sony is trying to milk their IPs right now and failing. That God of War side-scroller that they just released feels like they're milking the God of War franchise. Because it's like, this isn't that great. You didn't spend a lot of time on this. This doesn't feel like a passion project. It's like, it felt like a cash cow. Like they're just trying to cash in on the current install base they have.
We have a lot of hype around God of War. We need more God of War games.
Yeah. And then going off the Bluepoint thing, which we'll talk about later, but it's rumored that, or reported that, they were working on a God of War multiplayer game. So again, they're trying to milk the IP, being like, man, remember you love God of War single player, you'll love this multiplayer game we got. It's like, no, I won't.
Damn.
Matt, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of my concerns is she like Phil Spencer definitely felt like a gamer that was assigned to this to some extent. Definitely a corporate guy, but certainly a gamer. Is Sharma a gamer? Like, this is like you said, it's almost like a co-pilot written sort of like elevator pitch, and a lot of corporate speak. Like I really zoomed in on the soulless AI slop. If you notice, it's like, we didn't just say we're not going to use AI. It's, we're not going to do, soulless AI slop. So then in their opinion, they're going to be like, was it soulful or just not soulless? And they're going to just still have AI, AI slop or AI in there.
Yeah, because you could change that to where like the person putting the prompts is passionate about the prompts they're putting in. It's not soulless. They're putting their actual heart and soul into the prompt.
That's 100% right.
To make this crappy Halo spin-off game.
That's 100% right. 100%.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like you can just kind of tell, that this is, I don't know, like this, we'll see what she does and how she does it.
Just jump in. That's a really weird statement when Microsoft as a company is the big pusher of AI right now. So much so that like everyone's complaining that they're shoving AI in their faces. It's in every app on Windows, and their whole company is now staked on AI. And for their new CEO of gaming to come out and be like, we're not going to do AI slop seems very weird. So maybe they're going to spin it as this is passionate AI. This is art AI,
Well, this is one of those things where it's very kind of PR'd. Like, I'm not saying this happened exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if she wrote AI slop And then, maybe Satya was there and was like, put soulless in there because, we don't want, you know what I mean? Like add a little bit of a shield there because Copilot doesn't generate soulless AI slop.
Right.
To
them, everything's amazing. Yeah.
Or realistically, maybe they're trying to add a negative connotation to AI slop. In other words, like it's soulless AI slop, like because they're trying to get rid of the phrase AI slop, right? Like, isn't Satya saying not to use it? Yeah. So maybe they're like, like we'll try to add a negative connotation so people stop using it.
He said something like he wants us to get past like saying that because he wants like AI to be respected. But like it's like it would be respected if it was like valuable to us.
Yeah.
And AI can be valuable as a tool in terms of like, making you a spreadsheet or something like that. But it's not valuable to, I think, more of the arts. And that's where the AI slop comes in. People just making some crappy like video of, oh, here's a celebrity through the ages and they're walking and they transform. All those crappy videos you see online, that's AI slop.
Well, I honestly think that like maybe what he's trying to say is, how there was and I don't know if it still exists, but there was like some pushback where people used to like kind of like draw or paint their art, and then it was like digital art, and it's like digital artists aren't artists or whatever. Like I don't know how I'm not in the art community, so I don't know how vivid that argument is anymore. Maybe that's what he's trying to say, but I just feel like it's just like, dude, just have the AI then, and then just stop. Like these goddamn AI companies need to stop pushing it in our face. Like every time I open up Zoom, it's like, do you want to turn on your AI? It's like, stop telling me about the stupid AI friggin' assistant. Like, stop telling me that. You open up Notion, it's like, we got Notion AI. Stop telling me. Stop doing it.
I mean, from the start, AI has always been a solution looking for a problem. And the fact that they have to tell you to stop calling it AI slop, it's like you can't control consumers in that way.
You can't control it.
You can't tell people what to say something,
Yeah, when the iPod came out, people weren't like, oh, the iPod's shit, and Apple was like, don't call it shit, please. It's like, they made a good product that people wanted. End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what Microsoft needs to do. And I think that's what they need to do with their games. Just make good games that people want to play. And they've had a lot of mid-tier games. They've been on a hell of a run in terms of putting out games. And me and Matt were talking, like, was that last year or 2024 maybe even? Where like Microsoft had a bunch of games came out.
2024, it felt like they were on top of the world.
They were all good games, but they weren't like stellar games that was like, you have to be here. And that's kind of what the PS3 cultivated at the end of its life cycle. It was like, man, there's all these top tier, high quality games coming out on this platform. And it led to people wanting to buy a PS3 at the end of its life. Xbox needs those games, but they're like, Avowed is not bringing a lot of people over,
Yeah, like, and the part that I think that there's maybe this bit of a disconnect between like some of the consumer base and then like the people who are trying to like push AI is generative AI versus, other AI,
LLM.
like more technical AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people, of course, like you've got, like AI as a concept is fine. AI is not a new thing, right? But it's the generative AI part that people take issue with. And AI is great for achieving technical tasks, but in terms of like the creative is what people are concerned about. Like they don't want something that somebody couldn't be, if you couldn't have been bothered to make it for your game, why would I be bothered to play it, right? It's the same thing with a bunch of people trying to, pass off ChatGPT written novels as their own work and then call themselves an author. If you couldn't be bothered to write it, why should I be bothered to read it? And like, and then the people will say like, oh, well, I use it more as like, it's a general thing. And then I kind of clean it up after. Isn't that worth something? Or it's like, it makes it more accessible. It's like, why are you trying to fast track creativity? Like people seem to have this thing in their mind that like, oh, if I don't use AI to start, like I'm not good enough. But why are you setting your starting point as high as people who have already been practicing that skill for 10 years? If you're starting out, then you should be starting out. It's not making it more accessible. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by.
Isn't that classic humans though? It's like they always they don't want to put in the hard work, and that you don't always see it either, right? It's like, oh, someone's just like famous all of a sudden, and you think, oh, that just happened to them. But it's like, no, they had a lot of time and effort and failures along the way.
Yeah.
But everyone wants that fast track to like success or
of course
or money or fame or whatever it is.
I hear a lot of it is like people will use the word like it democratizes those those skills. It's like, oh, like we're beyond getting good at entering skill here, writing or whatever, or
Right.
coding. Coding's a big one. We're like kind of beyond needing to like learn that or need to be good at that. It democratizes those skills, so now it's accessible for everybody. I hear those arguments used a lot.
But it's not really a
Yeah.
skill, though, is it? If you're not the one doing it. So if it comes down to it, if you take that like generative AI away, you can't do the thing. You're not getting any better at anything. It's like, oh, but I'm the one that's like tailoring the prompts. And it's like, again, that's not anything. That's without that one singular thing that's useless. People are like, oh, it's a tool, though. And it's like, but it's not, because you can use a hammer for multiple things. If you take the hammer away, there's other ways to build a house.
Getting us back to what's her first name?
Asha, isn't it?
Asha Sharma. It's interesting that she doesn't have a gaming background, and I'm not sure what that signifies. Again, just going back to what I was listening to on Kind of Funny, they were talking about how she might just be a clean up the mess kind of CEO.
I kind of get that impression a little bit too. Like we've talked about this on the show a couple of times, where it seems to be like the suits from on high, if you will, like from Microsoft proper, not from Xbox. You know, they want those higher profit margins. Obviously, Xbox it looks bad in their earnings report, and so this might be one of those moves where it's just like make that damn division make money. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe what it is. I was telling you guys though, it's like I think that the Xbox brand, if it isn't already, is like irreparably damaged, or it's close to being irreparably damaged. Because it's like we've had two generations of, you know, what I think even Microsoft would call failure, even though they won't say that out loud. I
think Phil Spencer would admit the Xbox One was a failure.
But I think I think he might even admit, you know, behind closed doors, that the Xbox Series is a failure as well. I mean, the fact that the earnings is down, they've lost to Sony in such a large amount. They don't like have that many consoles in stores. It's actually kind of difficult to get them. And no one's
wild,
and like you and I were talking about that, Ryan, where it's like, if the PS5 was still really difficult to get, we'd be seeing headlines like, where the hell are the PlayStations? You and I have like looked for Xboxes on multiple occasions, and you can get them, but they're difficult to get. It's almost like it's launch window again. And it's no one's really talking about that. And the fact that no one's talking about that is very weird, because the 360, the Xbox One, you walk into a store, you know, outside of the launch window, you go, I want a PS4 or I want an Xbox One, and it's in stock, man. Short of a large sale or something like at the retailer that pushed those units out the door, they had both, and you could get both at any time pretty well. So like to me, it's like, okay, but like Xbox this time around has done all these things. Oh, what all devices are Xboxes or whatever, right? Like that phone's an Xbox, that PC is an Xbox. Like to me, it's like I feel like that's a huge mistake. And now that you've kind of opened that door, how do you close that? I don't see a reason why anyone would buy an Xbox Series 2. Like what is a reason why you would buy an Xbox Series 2? It's not exclusives, because that door's gone. So like what's
Game
the point?
Pass?
Game Pass, maybe Game Pass. So that you can have Game Pass on a console, like that would be the only thing. But I don't know, man. Like it feels really weird to me. Like it doesn't feel like Xbox has a way out. Like it kind of feels like Sony won, and that, like to me anyway, it kind of just feels like Sony won and that's it.
It's it's the landscape is definitely different now. We've always talked about how Phil Spencer said that the Xbox One generation was the one you didn't want to lose because people started building up a digital library. So does that keep people locked to their consoles? But I always have to question, how often do people go back and play old games? I don't know what the percentage is. I haven't actually looked up any studies or anything or any. All the big ongoing games as a service, those are available on each platform, and oftentimes free to play, something like Overwatch or Fortnite, right? So it's like, what is actually keeping people on PlayStation? And I have to think at this point, it's just the friend thing. What do your friends got?
Yeah,
they got
definitely.
PlayStations. I'm buying a PlayStation. I really feel it might just be that simple. So I don't really know how you get people back onto Xbox, particularly when their first party games are coming to PlayStation. Sometimes day and date, you know.
Would you say though, like, and I haven't seen this directly, but I get the impression that it's almost like PlayStation is the designer brand now. Like PlayStation 5 is the designer brand, and if somebody gets an Xbox, it's sort of like, bro, like why would you do that?
I think that's a marketing thing because I guess what happens is if you're in second place, you have to be the scrappy underdog who's like fighting a little dirty. Your advertising has to be edgier. You gotta attack your opponents, right? But then once you get on top, you become like, oh, I'm royalty. I don't even think about the others anymore. You know, you don't even mention them in advertising. They don't even exist to you.
But I mean the people. I mean the people. Like I agree with the friend group as being one of the major points. Exclusives are going to be another one. But I would say that like is it considered kind of like like no one wants that anymore? It's kind of like when like Windows
brand thing.
It's kind of like when Windows Phone and BlackBerry died off and Android and iOS stayed out. It's like, you know, there was a lot of people that like there's definitely like a lot of friend groups that were like if somebody bought, you know, one of the final Windows phones or one of the final BlackBerries, it'd be like, why would you do that?
I mean, yeah, that is a problem with Xbox's brand is that it isn't the cool thing to own. You know, there's I've heard that like people like won't date people unless they have an iPhone. Like there's like weird social
there's a social hierarchy to it for
aspect
sure.
to this, right?
Yeah.
And if Xbox's brand is like, oh, you're on an Xbox, that's weird. What do you know?
Imagine I tried to send you an iMessage and the bubble was green instead of blue.
Yeah.
Ugh. Can't be with someone who's got green bubbles. Ugh.
Yeah. So that could be an aspect of it, man.
I don't see how they come back from that. I mean, they've done a bunch of like consumer friendly things, but
I think they have to go counterculture.
They have to go counter.
They have to put out a punk album. You know what I mean? They have to do something. I don't know what it is.
What's game punk? Like, what is that? You know?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying that's what you got to do. That's what Apple did when they were the underdog. They started fighting scrappily and making fun of their opponents and doing these ads where they were like the famous Mac versus PC ads and stuff. Yeah. You got to start doing things differently than just being like, hey, come play our great games. Remember what PlayStation had those? Remember those Kevin Butler ads?
Yeah,
those were awesome. You know, and I'm not saying an ad campaign is going to change things, but it's all part of an entire way you need to organize your company to fight back.
Can you do that when you rely on PlayStation to release your games on now?
Yeah, that's the weird part. And they were questioning that. And I'm kind of funny whether the exclusives or whether the first party games would no longer be on PlayStation after this CEO switchover. Is one of her things going to be like, no, our games are exclusive to Xbox now? I
almost think that's a smart move.
Unless you're looking for sales, because
it depends, I guess, on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to push console sales, maybe that's a smart move.
But yeah, and if they're doing that, they definitely got to lower the cost of production of those games because you can't make a $200 million game and sell it to only 40 million consoles.
Do we have you guys heard of any console sellers this gen? I haven't even really heard that term thrown around.
That's a good point, yeah.
Although maybe it's just because everyone's on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because everyone's on PlayStations. Who cares? Like console. What do you mean by console seller? It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, a lot of things are either available through streaming subscriptions or like they're multi-platform as well. So it doesn't have to sell a console if it's crossplay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so based on that, one of the people that are in like sort of the most closed, one of the manufacturers, I guess, one of the most closed ecosystems would definitely be Nintendo. And I know that Nintendo is kind of doing its own thing, and they consider themselves, or people don't consider them like a direct competition. But would them being able to sustainably do their own thing be partially due to the fact that their stuff is exclusive? Would people really be buying a Switch 2 if Mario and, you know, Enter and many other IP here were on PlayStation?
Probably not as many people, because the Switch 2 is pretty expensive.
Yeah, and up for a price hike potentially.
I mean, the Switch has the luxury of being a unique product, though, because it's a mobile platform.
It is portable. You do pay for that.
Sony doesn't really have, like, the Portal is not a competitor to the Switch.
No.
So they have an aspect there where it's like, yeah, maybe they could get away with it. I don't know.
They definitely have like some hardware. They definitely have like some hardware, you know, advantage there. But I would imagine there's a bunch of people that are almost like reluctantly, in a way, buying a Switch 2 because they want to play Mario or they want to play Zelda.
This is just a side point. It was a funny comment I heard though. They were talking about that new Game Freak game that's not on the Switch. It's on Xbox and PlayStation. And how gorgeous it looks, and someone was like, "Oh my god, Game Freak's never made a game that looks better than a GameCube game."
Oh no!
It is remarkable. I don't know how they did that.
They weren't held down by Nintendo hardware,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
All
nice.
right, well, I'm an optimistic person though, so I'm excited by this change, but I don't know whether it's good or bad. I think we'll just have to kind of see how things play out, and I wonder if the decisions are going to come fast because they might have to turn the ship around as quick as possible. Because I mean, Microsoft is a publicly traded company. If the Xbox division keeps reducing in sales, they might have to cut it. You know?
I sincerely wonder if they lose like the hardware and they decide they're not going to make Xbox hardware. I kind of feel like the brand is gone and they'll just have Game Pass.
And just be a service.
Microsoft Game Studios and Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's the other question. What studios are going to get shut down after this?
Oh yeah. I mean that
People
one
are saying the what's the one that did the pot game at
so I was just literally about to say
Double Fine?
yeah, that's right. The Psychonauts guys and the Keeper guys and all that. Yeah, like if that game doesn't do well, how's that going to look with a new CEO at the helm? It's going to be like, you made a pot making competitive game? Like, what are you talking about?
Ninja Theory potentially gone.
Forget who they are.
Did Hellblade.
Right.
Sony should have bought them. That seems like a better fit for Sony.
No, I think that's a mistake too. That's another conversation. But I think like we shouldn't be fucking buying everything.
Yeah,
it's starting to cause these big titans to make these huge moves, and if they like trip, it's like, oh shit, there goes like 10,000 people that were really highly talented developers or really highly talented artists.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to lead into the next conversation, right? Like,
yeah. But the Ninja Theory, what kind of makes me upset about them is I watched a lot of their dev diaries when they were making the first Hellblade, and they were talking about how they wanted to be like this little indie, scrappy developer that was making AAA quality games, and then big old Microsoft comes by and they're like, all right, we'll sell it to you. You know, it's like, well, so okay, they didn't actually want to live by being an indie dev. The money was too good, and then they took the money and then ran. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of sucked. But yeah, any final thoughts? Otherwise, we'll move on here. It is huge news, though. But
I had a question. I listened to that recently, that interview with Major Nelson maybe a month or two ago. It was the one you sent me, Ryan.
With Ryan McCaffrey, was that?
Yeah, I think it was on Podcast Unlocked, maybe, or maybe it's just on YouTube. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. It was a thing, and he talking about Major Nelson was talking about, you know, how much fun and how like vivid Xbox was back then. You know, they were shutting down one of the main streets in New York City, I think it was, to have Master Chief come out of a working warthog to like hand somebody the first copy of like Halo 3 or whatever the fuck it was. And, you know, they were doing, you know, the game of the week or what, I can't remember the name. It's been a while, but the game of the week sort of like news thing. And he said like that kind of got old and it's not needed anymore. And I'm not saying that all that needs to come back, but I want to know how much of Microsoft / Xbox's success was that. Because if we think about the Xbox One, I know it's a meme, the whole like TV, but it was very corporate. And it very much became like, this is the console for you because you like to do this. Instead of it just being like, fuck, look at that, there's Master Chief. And instead of it being sort of exciting and letting the players be excited and Microsoft support that, like, what is the fun side of Xbox right now? I mean, like, it was, I didn't mind Phil Spencer. Like, he kind of felt, at least in the beginning, kind of like the fun side. But it's like Major Nelson was always sort of, he was the media guy, right? Like, he was the goofy, funny, happy-go-lucky guy who was connected to the community and all the rest of it. And they lost that. And if I think about PlayStation back then, they didn't really have anything. Like, they had like the gamer advisory panel. If you remember that, I was actually on that. But they had the gamer advisory panel, and like that was it. I can't think of another thing that PlayStation was doing exciting until near the end with the Instant Game Collection. And I'm sure there's examples of things they were doing exciting that I can't remember. But even though I didn't watch Major Nelson's stuff, just him being around and just that culture, just the culture and the excitement and having Master Chief jumping out of things, the culture's gone. And I kind of wonder if that's what that would bring them back.
That 360 culture was great.
Like, how much would it cost Microsoft to do that?
I don't know how you do that, though. That might have just been a natural thing that occurred. You had the right people in the right place at the right time, and I don't know how you necessarily cultivate that organically again. Like, if you force it, it feels forced. So, I did see Major Nelson apparently reached out to Ashra
I
Sharma.
Sharma. That's her last name.
Yeah.
Sharma.
And so that's a curious thing if that's true. If that I just saw like a screenshot of it, so it could just be fake. But interesting if because he just got fired from Unity.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, got laid off.
Just
That's
wild.
so
It's so weird.
unfortunate. That's so
It's
crazy.
so weird. Like to be that old and that kind of like quote unquote famous and so such a big figure of Microsoft to like get laid off. It's like kind of strange,
He's probably set up at this point. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
he's fine, but it's just weird to be like, oh, you're fired.
But see, like even Unity, it's like I'm not really super into Unity, but like there's no excitement around Unity. It doesn't feel like.
Yeah.
It's like where's the
Yeah.
excitement for stuff now? Now it's kind of like I'm on Instagram and everything sucks, and then it's
Yeah.
like the other guys come in and they're like, no, it doesn't suck, and then it's just a big fight and the fight sucks. And it's like where the fuck is the excitement to be like, come on, like the 360 was broken as fuck and still was exciting. Like it had Red Ring of Death and all that, and it was still exciting.
Another problem they're struggling with now that they didn't really have to struggle with back in the 360 and PS3 era is social media and Netflix and streaming. I don't know, but I would assume there's probably more people watching gaming content on TikTok than there are people who actually want to be gamers in like Gen Z and young millennials.
Then Microsoft should do that.
No, but I'm saying that doesn't lead them to become gamers, but I think they're watching gaming content.
Well, Tim, you sent me, and this is related to that. Tim, you sent me a couple. I assume they're still doing it. Sega does some pretty damn funny, or they did some pretty damn funny TikToks.
They did a lot of random weird stuff with like Sonic and Yakuza stuff sometimes. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know about you, Tim, but like to me, it's like that's just funny, happy-go-lucky, and like it makes me be like, oh, cool, like Sega's around,
It's definitely one of those things that really helps to garner like not necessarily rapport. And the big thing for me is that they do that stuff without it being explicitly about marketing something,
Right.
Like they're not making that video necessarily to sell something because they're just making a video about somebody in a giant Sonic mascot costume, like doing something pretty innocuous, like super silly, or it's just like, it's not, you couldn't even call it a skit. Like it's just such a short video where it's just like music from a Sonic game is playing and they just kind of have him like running in place and then looking at the camera and that, in like a boardroom, and that's kind of it.
yeah.
And that's just it's kind of like it feels a lot less egregious and definitely a lot more maybe just like appealing to younger demographics by way of just, hey, this is kind of not that it's like, lol XD random millennial humor, but it's more just kind of like the fact that it doesn't make sense is what people like. It's kind of that younger skewing surrealist humor.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, yeah, this is just a thing. Like they're just putting it out there to be random. Like you'll scroll across it in the same way that you'd scroll across literally anything else that somebody might put up on TikTok.
It's the same, and this is gonna sound weird. It's the same as like when Arby's was like marketing like Skyrim, and they had like the Skyrim people, like the people all like dressed up in cosplay or whatever, and it's sort of like Skyrim, and I think it was Skyrim, but anyway, like Skyrim and Arby's sandwiches don't like really
Go
have
together.
a sales cross. Like it wasn't, I don't think they had a special combo that was a Skyrim one. Yeah, they don't go together. There's like, I don't know how many demographics cross over or whatever, but it's sort of like, I remember that, and I'm sure like being, there's a benefit to being positive and in the zeitgeist. Like you said, like they don't, one of the Sonic videos I remember you showed me was like when he was running and he like paused or he fell and it like cut to that, like, I think it's like the Coldplay song where it shows like the stairs to heaven or whatever. That was like that trend back then.
Yeah.
And
just jump on a trend.
Yeah, just jump on the trend. And the thing is I don't think there was a Sonic game that they were specifically advertising, but there is a value to being in the zeitgeist. If that gets, share it out 100,000 times, it's like maybe 20,000 of those people are like, oh, fuck me. And then they boot up Sonic Mania or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like, I wonder if like these companies would only do that if there was market research to show that was valuable. Right.
Yep.
So Arby's doing like a gaming post, and they did a ton of them. I don't really see them much anymore, but they did a ton of them. I think even KFC does it every now and then. There's been KFC Xboxes and stuff like that.
I was gonna say.
But what I was thinking is the market research probably shows that people enjoy gaming content on social media, but that doesn't necessarily mean they like gaming.
True.
And I wonder if there's a lot of kids who just watch it and don't actually play it, don't actually have an Xbox or a PS5,
Oh yeah.
and they just watch that content. And that's the trouble, is that they're not transitioning these people to gaming. So all their time
then
is in
monetize that.
entertainment. But all their time and entertainment is being taken up by TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and not actually gaming anymore.
I will say there is definitely a time issue. Like I realized the other day I was on TikTok just for 2 hours. Like I didn't even really realize. And I was thinking to myself, like, God, man, like I could have just like finished doing my income tax. Like I was supposed to be doing my income tax that day, and I did it for as long as I was supposed to do. But I was like, man, if I just like wasn't on TikTok, like instead of getting to the milestone I wanted to do, which thankfully I made it to, I was like, I could have just been done, because it only took 2 hours to get to that 50% milestone. And it's like, man, I could have just finished this stupid thing.
What's so good about? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just that it's because there's only so many hours in a day. Like,
Yeah, but the thing that makes TikTok and Reels and Shorts so enticing is, like, if you watch a 30-second clip and you don't like it, there's a new clip that could be something you like just to swipe away. Whereas a game, it's like you got to put in time, and you don't get that reward trigger in your brain every 30 seconds. You know, and so you can just sit there and be like, oh, I don't like that video. And then, oh, I like that video. I like that video. I like that video, you know?
Yeah, there's literally parts of a game. Like if I think of a strategy game as a great example, but certainly not the only example, is there's parts of a strategy game where it's like stressful, where there's like worry. There's parts where, you know, maybe it's not even fun for an hour. Yeah. Right. But then you like overcome this huge objective, and it's like, holy fuck. And people will kind of roll their eyes and be like, oh, it doesn't really matter. And it's like, I get it. Like, it is just a game. But I mean, people doing any or virtually any hobby, you know, kind of doesn't matter. It's just sort of like feeding the human reward cycle, I guess is what it's called. But it's like we're trying to do that without, what do they call that? I think you've used the term a couple of times, Tim, like instant gratification or dopamine hit or something, or maybe it's both.
Yeah. Pretty much that. Oh.
Where there's just like it's like where there's no downside other than the swipe.
No, yeah. When you make it,
is hard.
Yeah, when you just make it as accessible as possible, like you said, instant gratification. Exactly that too, Ryan. Where it's like you have no effort in and only reward out. Like that's just appealing to the most base instinct of the brain, right?
Or lizard brains. All right, well, let's move on to the next story here. More bad news here. PlayStation is shutting down Demon's Souls Shadow of the Colossus remake studio, Bluepoint Games. This is from IGN. This comes from Bloomberg, which confirmed the news with PlayStation. Roughly 70 employees are going to be impacted by the closure when it officially occurs next month. Quote, Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. We thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship, end quote. That was from a PlayStation spokesperson who told that to Bloomberg. According to a previous report by Bloomberg, Bluepoint was working on a live service God of War game up until January 2025 when the project was canceled. The studio then spent last year pitching new projects, but ultimately was shuttered before it could get one moving. Bluepoint was founded in 2006 by former Retro Studios employees and proceeded to work on a number of PlayStation games, including several collections of existing games, such as God of War Collection, Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. It also served as a support studio on ports of games like PlayStation All-Stars, Flower, and Titanfall. But Bluepoint's claim to fame was its 2018 remake of Shadow of the Colossus, followed by its 2020 remake of Demon's Souls, both of which were highly praised by critics and fans. It wasn't until after Demon's Souls that Sony acquired Bluepoint in 2021. Under Sony's management, Bluepoint did some co-development work on God of War Ragnarok, but otherwise did not release or announce any new games. Holy poop. I'm not seeing anyone agreeing with this closure.
The internet is pissed about this one.
And I heard that Sony has gone radio silent.
Yeah.
They have not posted anything on social media. They don't want to stoke the flames here.
It's pretty bad. I had the unfortunate experience this morning because I know somebody who works at Bluepoint who is losing their job. I had the unfortunate experience this morning of opening up my Instagram and going to someone's page and seeing, hey, this person that works at Bluepoint, they're losing their job because they reposted the Jason Schreier post stating that this news is happening. And I messaged them and I was like, I'm so sorry to hear about this. Like, I am so sad and angry on your behalf about this. And funnily enough, he kind of said like he was the same way and that he did kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit. And just that like he was confused that because he's worked there for over 7 years. So before the acquisition by Sony, and kind of saw the acquisition as confusing because he said it never really felt like they had a plan for the studio. And so that's got to be really frustrating when it's like you're just being bought to be bought. It's like, what are we doing here? And like we briefly mentioned before, like earlier in this episode, like these companies shouldn't be allowed to just buy up a studio like it's a product. Because if you are going to make it where you can just buy it and they have full ownership and it gives them the ability to just shut it down if they decide we need to balance the spreadsheet a little bit, like they never have to see these people who they're firing, right? It's just, oh, we're so far removed. It's not even a conversation that we have. But like it's with the whole like venture capitalist type mindset that is just starting to completely overrun the games industry. It really does feel like overall the industry is suffering for this. And it's not limited just to the games industry. It's everywhere now. It's an extremely, extremely common story that towards the end of the year, a bunch of huge companies with a bunch of employees lay off a bunch of people right before the holidays. And then the next year they go on to post, oh, we had record profits. Like that sort of thing happening, I feel like it should be legally and financially penalized. That sort of behavior. Like that's absolutely insane. Across all industries, like that you just should not be allowed to fire off a bunch of people and then claim, oh, look at how much money we made. It's like, if you made that much money, it kind of sounds like you didn't need to fire all those people then.
Well, it kind of is a technique, right? Where it's like you can make your profits look better if you reduce costs, right? It's not like you actually grew. You just move some numbers around to make it look a little nicer.
Yeah.
What's so mind-boggling about this closure is like they were like the premier remake studio.
Yeah, seriously.
And remakes seem to be like safe bets nowadays, you know? And Sony has a lot of amazing IP that could be remade. Things like Infamous, Killzone, Resistance, Bloodborne would be a killer hit for them, I think. Especially after seeing Demon's Souls be such a true to the original remake.
Extremely faithful.
If they did that with just a new coat of paint on Bloodborne, that'd be amazing. And the thing that really kind of hurts is they worked on the God of War remaster, not a remake, but the remaster, the collection that came out several years ago. And Sony just announced a remake of that collection, or at least those 3 games. Why wouldn't you make Bluepoint do that? You know, it's like, what? Why would you take this studio that does remakes and be like, no, make this God of War games as a service game, cancel it, and then just be like, yeah, get out of here.
And they made a God of War game. They made God of War collection back in the day.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like it doesn't make sense. It's not only just because like there's the new one that you're talking about, right? Like the God of War 3. What do they call that? I don't know what they're calling that new trilogy remake. Just remake, okay.
Or so trilogy remake, yeah.
Yeah, so then like God of War collection, it's like you have people that are likely still there.
And I believe some people from the studio said they would have loved to have worked on the remake. And it's just like, why would you buy them and then force them to do something they've never done before? Like it's like, it's so stupid. I don't. Now, I'm not some big multimillionaire executive with fancy suits and private jets, but like it just seems so dumb to buy that studio and not do what they're known for, you know? Now, maybe they wanted to make their own game. That's fine. That's cool. You know, maybe they wanted to make a new IP, but no, they were given some games as a service game that no one probably wanted. What do you, God of War games as a service? What? What is that?
What's crazy with this like whole like VC thing, like you guys were saying, and then this idea is like, so they bought Bluepoint, they really didn't have a plan, but it's like, okay, like we just bought an asset in remakes and remasters, all the whole shebang. Like, and one of you said it's like it's a safe bet as well these days. It's like if Sony doesn't know what to do, You just go, okay, do we have any titles trapped on the PS3? Yes, we do. Okay. Well, we're not really sure what to do with these guys, but they're great at this, and this will make us some money. So go make this. Like, go make a Resistance. Go make a Killzone. Go completely redo Killzone, because Killzone was kind of a piece of shit, the first one. Like, go make a Killzone amazing. Like, go make Killzone. And that would be super, super cool. Like, not even the full trilogy. And then, like, I was telling you guys in the Discord chat before this, is it's like Sony has all these assets. Like, Bluepoint's one of them. And it's sort of like, you know what, guys, we really want to do games as a service. Okay, fair enough. That's one of the directions the gaming industry is going. Kind of controversial, but fair enough. You want to try it? Sure. Why the fuck would you go, like you just said, Ryan, to someone who doesn't have that expertise? Like, get all your studios firing on all cylinders in order to support the new venture that's a bit of a moonshot.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And it's so frustrating to see. It's like, I understand the whole like corpo idea of, well, maybe they made Killzone and it made it 200 million and it took 70 people, but we made a games as a service game with 70 people and it made $1 billion. So we've wasted the potential of that 70. But the thing is I feel like it goes over these corpos' heads that eventually they're going to run out of money potentially. Like, eventually your luck's going to run out. Like, if the PlayStation 6 doesn't do well, and you've been fucking around all PlayStation 5, you're not going to close. You're pretty big, but you're probably going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's sort of like, use your assets the way they're meant to be used, and talk to them, because they're people as well. If Bluepoint's like, we want to do a remake, but we want to try multiplayer, it's like, okay, well, fair enough. Why don't we do a Killzone and then we have a multiplayer mode in it? Yeah, and have a multiplayer mode in it. So if the multiplayer sucks, but the campaign's awesome, that'll be what the reviewers say. And now you have some more people that understand online infrastructure. Like, I just don't understand the idea of kind of buying assets and then not using. It'd be like if I buy like a tractor trailer, like a full 18-wheeler, and I tell you guys that my only purpose is to go like into downtown Toronto and do small deliveries of like cookies. It's like, that's going to be
go get your groceries.
Yeah, you just go get my groceries. It's like, that's a shitload of room. That's going to be hard to park. Like, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, this is a crazy move.
Yeah, there's so many people that are going to be talking about how it just doesn't make sense, right? Like, it's the same thing with Tango Softworks, where it's like, you made this amazing game, this first smash breakout hit. Everyone in the world loves it. Everyone's watching Tango to be like, what are they going to make next? Like, they're going to be like the golden child of Microsoft. And then Microsoft is like, yeah, I shut them down though. And the world is like, what? Why? That's the stupid, like, that's what happens in a sitcom. What do you mean this is happening in real life?
Yeah.
It's the exact same situation. It's like everybody was watching Bluepoint to be like, this is a cool studio. This is the one to keep your eye on. And then
that's Hi-Fi Rush costs like, $100 million to make. I don't see how, but unless their costs were just through the roof.
But if it wasn't profitable, I get it. Like, if they're like, these guys are making amazing remakes and we're losing 100 million each time, like, you can come out and say that.
Well, I think Sony is afraid of hurting their brand in terms of releasing bad games, because it's like, if Bluepoint is as talented as we think they were, that God of War multiplayer game might have been something. Why not release it and see if it can recover some costs? But it's like, no, we'll just shutter the whole thing and completely destroy it. Naughty Dog was working on a Last of Us multiplayer game, and they just said no, because I think they were afraid of releasing something that could damage Naughty Dog's brand.
See, what's weird about the Naughty Dog
Concord,
thing,
they shut down because they're like, holy crap, this is embarrassing us, and they just killed it rather than fix it like some other games have done.
What doesn't make sense though, specifically with Naughty Dog, is if they're that worried, why aren't we working on another Last of Us? Like this, like any departure from what is tried and true is scary. Any departure at all. It doesn't matter whether that space game does amazing or if it does garbage. We don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah, but that's a little safer, because like we're talking about, if they made a multiplayer Last of Us game, and that's not typically what Naughty Dog does. Like, Naughty Dog is known for their story-based single-player games. Why would you make them do something else? So them making another single-player story-based game is a safer bet than making that multiplayer game.
It's a safer bet, but I mean, if you're really that worried, Like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Because like, how long is this space game going to take to make? Like, is it going to come out next year?
Years.
You know what I mean? Like,
they might. They were talking that they might miss this generation because of that little detour to that multiplayer game.
This little maneuver is going to cost us 11 years.
Yeah. But that's where gaming is now. So it's nuts.
It's just that insane, that was like the Always Sunny meme where the guy's like, overcooked chicken, jail. Undercooked chicken, believe it or not, also jail. It's like, make an amazing game, you get shut down. Make a terrible game, you get shut down. Make a game that defines a genre, it is a console seller and like, you know, wins game of the year, believe it or not, also shut down.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing? There's from the just consumer perspective, there is just no logic to it at all.
No logic. It's a disaster.
Well, it's sad. This is where I get disappointed. Well, I mean, there's many things to get disappointed with billionaires about. But if I was a billionaire, I would hire everyone from Bluepoint and keep a studio alive and start making games. You know what I mean? Where are the fun billionaires that want to do cool things?
See, that was like something I was talking with somebody else about today too, where it's like, somebody else was saying like, well, what do we do in this situation? And it's like, all you can really do is, I suppose, kind of pressure government to be like, you need to legislate against this. You need to make it so that these corporations can't buy these studios just to arbitrarily close them. Like, they have to have some sort of security in place, or at the very least, well, like if it was me, if I could just like across the board make a blanket rule, it would be these companies cannot just purchase a studio. They can hire the studio like like a contract position, but to fully outright purchase them, that puts them in the position where if they choose to, they can just fully shut it down and cost a bunch of people their jobs. That shouldn't be allowed. It just straight up should not be possible.
But I guess the problem with that though is that like they're private companies and they can do what they want. But it's not just that Sony bought Bluepoint. It's that whoever owned Bluepoint sold to Sony.
That's the other piece too, right?
They need to be responsible for this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I will say, I don't know how big Bluepoint was at the time that they were acquired. I think it was like 70 people as of today, I think, were laid off, or as of the shutdown. So I don't know, maybe it's the same size. But I will say, like, from an individual perspective, like if you're running an indie game studio, for lack of a better way to say it, I think it was pretty much independent, right? Or at least it was. I think it was fully. But if you're running like a smaller studio and like someone comes to the door and like offers you just like a bag of money and you're like, man, we've been stressing trying to like make money. Like, get me out of here. Like from an independent, thing, it's like, it does kind of suck, but you're kind of like, I'm going to look out. You always hear that one, like I'm going to look after my family. Like I'm out of here, right? Like I'm set now. That's my FU money. I don't know if that's what happened with Bluepoint, but that's what happens in like a lot of mergers and stuff, especially if it's like a merger where you're like, man, they might close us down, but like I'm getting my bag and I'm getting the heck out of here, right? I was going to bring up one thing though, is that Relic Entertainment with Sega, Relic was purchased by Sega and Sega didn't want them. And Sega said, do you guys want to go independent again? And they said, yeah. And they're independent again. Like, yeah, so like there's a way out, and I'm sure that costs Sega some form of money to like do the lawyer fees and whatever else has to be done. But like, it's still a way to be like, yo, you guys are a big strategy studio, like a beloved like strategy studio. Do you want to be independent again? Because we don't want you anymore.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of out.
Size.
There needs to be some sort of out for these companies, because like if they're able to just be like bought up and shut down, like what if the thing that kills me about the whole thing is that like if Bluepoint had never been interfered with by Sony, they would be fine.
They'd be fine.
They would have been totally fine on their own, and they'd still be around. But they're not going to be because Sony got involved, and it's not any of their own fault.
This is kind of what I was saying. Like, where's the person to come save them though? Why isn't there some other studio that's like, oh, we recognize that they're good? Microsoft is buying studios, and it's like, what if they just said, we're going to hire everyone from Bluepoint? Now they're doing their own layoffs, and maybe it's just an industry thing as a whole where everything's contracting and there's no money in gaming anymore. So maybe they're screwed, but I don't know. It's just weird that no one ever gets bailed out.
Well, that's what people are saying the same thing about Tango, right? They were like, oh, Sony should just buy them. Yeah. So it's the exact same thing.
Tango did get bailed out, right? I thought, yeah, Tango did get bailed out. Tango, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to remember. It was accompanied by ZeniMax in October after suffering financial issues. Tango Gameworks, I'm just going to put saved into Google here. Been acquired by Krafton Inc. That's it.
Yeah.
Saving it from closure. There you go.
And then same with Crystal Dynamics when Square Enix sold them to Embracer. So I wonder what the decision making is in that, like whether to sell them, because like Sony probably doesn't want a competitor, right? So you shut down the studio and then just be like, no one else can use you,
But it's like that talent's gonna go somewhere, like
Yeah,
I don't know. That's weird. And like, what is there? I guess I saw somebody asking like, what is stopping Bluepoint from just going like, okay, we're all gonna go, all of us as the company, just to make our own studio again, like just make a different company.
I think they can, probably.
Like, they could do that theoretically. Like, the only limit would be money, probably, unless they've signed some sort of like non-compete clause, which those were probably all shuttered a long time ago anyway. So.
It's a good question. I mean, because a lot of those devs, any dev is like part of like a big studio. It feels like, at some point or another, they'll release a big game and then a bunch of them will leave and make their own studio. So I would imagine, I mean, this is a closure though, so who knows if there is a non-compete clause, but I would imagine they could do that. This is a mess. This is a damn mess is what all this is.
Yeah, it sucks, but we're probably not seeing the end of it. I think someone did point out that Sony had purchased 20 studios and shut down 11 of them. So you're more likely than not to be shut down if you're purchased by one of these big companies.
Which is going to be so just like scary. It just has so much unrest. And it's like, we were talking before about how it's not limited to just the games industry. Obviously, like you get all these massive corporations just doing mass layoffs and stuff as a form of a quick cash injection, or like you said, Ryan, like just you're cutting down on your costs to make your profits look better. But it's like, there are such more damaging long-term consequences to doing a bunch of mass layoffs for such short-term gains. And it's like, in the interim, the people that suffer are always, of course, going to be the people who get fired. But your product suffers, your relationship with your consumers suffers, because now you see so many people that are saying like, Sony has this track record of having great games, but I bought a PS1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a PSP and a Vita, and Sony's going to have to do a hell of a lot of work to like earn my purchases again. Like, I have no reason to buy a PS7.
Other than that, the Xbox will be too expensive.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move on to our final story for the week. Elder Scrolls 6 will return to Bethesda's classic style after detours with Starfield and Fallout 76, says Todd Howard. This is from IGN. But I think he was speaking on an interview with Kind of Funny, which he talked about why he can't really provide too much of an update on Elder Scrolls 6 and admits he would have preferred not to have announced it so early in 2018. However, he says players can expect it to be a return to Bethesda's classic form after the studio took creative detours with both Starfield and Fallout 76. Quote, "We do have a certain style that we like and our fans like, that we want to get better and better at. I think in some ways Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout and Skyrim, or a Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, Oblivion, where you're exploring a world in a certain way. And as we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we're doing now, we're coming back to that classic style that we've missed, that we know really, really well," end quote. He went on to confirm that the studio has spent the last several years improving on Creation Engine 2, which is the game engine behind Starfield, and bringing it up to Creation Engine 3, which will power Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond. I mean, this kind of just sounds like, Matt, you're laughing.
I'm laughing my ass off at the Creation Engine, I'm sorry.
We've heard this forever about how they're always fixing it and making it good, and I mean, there wasn't that many issues in Starfield, right?
No, surprisingly, Starfield was actually really well done in terms of performance at 30. Anyway,
although the ladders were cutscenes.
It was their best, it was their least buggy launch ever, right? Something like that.
So that's pretty good.
Well, I don't think the ladders weren't cutscenes. They were only in the ship, though, Ryan. Like a very small environment.
But wasn't it like you would like press A on it or something, and then they would climb down the ladder? You wouldn't actually physically go up and down it like you can in most other games.
I can't. That's a good question. I can't remember now.
I thought it wasn't a cutscene per se, but it was like a prearranged animation would play. You know what I mean?
I'd have to boot up Starfield again.
Okay.
What's funny about Starfield specifically is that it almost has the reverse Bethesda problem, where Bethesda games are normally great content and quality wise, but they're super buggy. But then Starfield wasn't as buggy, but the content and quality was just pretty blah and bland.
Maybe they can only do one. They can't do both.
They can't do both.
You got to pick and choose here.
Yeah.
But I mean, Starfield still had that jank in terms of like facial animations and the
Oh,
way
it
the
was-
characters move.
It was
and,
creepy. Yeah, it's
Like
uncanny.
it still has that weird, and maybe it's charming at this point. It's that Bethesda style where it's just like everything's not exactly right. Like you ain't playing a Naughty Dog game here, boys. You know, it's just like
I love a world that I just can't quite get immersed into.
yeah, right, yeah. I mean, it kind of made Oblivion famous though.
Oh yeah,
That jank is like
the
part of
Oblivion
that,
jank
the
is
soul of
what-
that game.
is what people love. Yeah, which is why they, I think, endeavored to keep it so faithful in the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Oblivion without jank is just kind of a generic RPG, you know?
I mean, it does kind of seem hard for them to screw up in Elder Scrolls 6 because if they are returning to form, and one of the biggest problems with Starfield was just that there was nothing to do. You had entire planets that were just empty and boring and dull, you know? So,
And they were always so good about making a place like, maybe the world isn't the biggest, but it's densely packed, you know? Ever since Morrowind,
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah,
it
the
was such
cities
a-
are like 6 buildings, right?
such a weird way to take it.
but yeah, we're probably not going to see this game for another, I don't know, I'm going to say 4 years.
Yeah. 2030? That's your bet?
Oh my God. Can you
They do say
oh,
it's playable internally. In that interview, he does say that.
can mean a lot of
Anything.
things, right?
It can mean anything,
Yeah.
but
Pong is playable. Like, it doesn't mean there's much there.
well, I was going to actually mention this I saw some people talking online about this, and there was kind of a not a big squabble, but a bit of a squabble between like the idea that Bethesda, where Starfield was a misstep and 76 was a bit of a technical misstep in the beginning, and they fixed it. They were saying that like they should continue to like do weird things or do weird things in relation to their previous endeavors and not go back. And this is them doing a safe move. And I actually think this might be smart. I think with the Elder Scrolls 6 specifically, it's like I feel like you're just going to get like a really, really friggin' huge Skyrim with the fact that the consoles can handle it now. And I think it's kind of smart. Like, I don't know about you guys, but
Well, smart or just what's going to happen? Like they're just going to, that's just how it's going to be. Like what?
well, no, my question is like, do you think that they should have done this? Or do you think that they should have, hey, we're going to try something new with Elder Scrolls 6?
I think there's going to be new things in it, but if you're making an Elder Scrolls game and it's the next numbered entry, it's not like you all of a sudden make it like there's a reason why Fallout 76 is not called Fallout 5, right?
Sure.
That was them making a different style of Fallout game. But when you're making another entry in that same series, it probably should feel more like the previous entries. You don't want to take too big of a swing.
Sure. Well, and I'm on the Bethesda newsletter, and I will say that the Bethesda newsletter does show a lot of the creations that come to stuff. And so I've been kind of keeping up with that just to sort of see what the creations, stuff is all about. And I mean, it's definitely microtransaction-y and stuff, but I think it's a fair way to monetize. I know not all the creations are going to do amazing. I know some people are upset about it, but it just seems like a fair way to justify keeping some of their older games alive, which they've always kind of done, but they've kind of done so more, like with Skyrim, for example, being re-released, it was also facelifted multiple times, right?
Right.
Fallout 4 was facelifted for free, basically, next-gen update, and then now it has the creations in there. And I know that the modders hate it, the heavy modders hate it because they're using sort of like the free mods and things. And there's drawbacks to every strategy. But I don't see creations as being as egregious as I originally did, being on the newsletter, just kind of keeping an eye on it. And honestly, I kind of wish creations would fix Starfield, but
All right, well, that's it for this week. Now moving on to what we're playing. Tim, what have you been playing this week?
Again, like primarily, it's always going to be classic WoW right now, doing the Burning Crusade stuff. But aside from that, Kayla and I have been trying to get through Astrobot, which is probably being
really?
made by a studio that's going to get shut down in the next year or so, because apparently that's just what we do, is we just keep strangling amazing talent. So sorry, Team Asobi, but yeah, so we're working our way through that. We've been playing our ever perpetual co-op playthrough with friends, playing Baldur's Gate 3, as we have been doing for years now across multiple campaigns. Already thinking about, because we just got into Act 3, but we're already thinking about what we're going to do for the next playthrough. So I guess that's just something that we're going to keep doing forever.
Is Act 3 is rather short, right?
It can be. There is a lot of content there, but it is all like technically optional. And then aside from that, we will, if we do end up continuing on with that, in terms of like stream though, a friend of mine is doing her kind of like a partner-versary all month because it was 6 years since she got partnered. And so she's a huge fan of Resident Evil and playing through a bunch of Resident Evil games, specifically the ones that are about the story of Raccoon City in the lead up to Resident Evil 9 coming out at the end of the month. And so this week we're going to be doing playing a game that she actually never finished, Resident Evil 6, with probably a lot of cursed mods added as well. So it's probably going to be a terrible time game-wise, but very entertaining time otherwise. But that's largely it.
I have been doing Cyberpunk still, and probably will for the rest of my life. No, I am I'm mopping up the side stuff. I'm doing a bunch of that, and I'm kind of entered that part of an RPG where no mission is a challenge, and I'm just kind of walking in, and it's sort of like, you should do this stealthily, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna walk, and everyone's gonna die around me. Not even gonna sneak. I don't need to. So I've reached that point, and people are just giving me shit. Like, it's supposed to be like this. I was laughing pretty good. I got this text in the game, and it was this person that was like, "Go pick up this car. You did this to me, and so like I want you to do this job, and as a result, like I won't blackmail you or something, and I'll give you this really sweet car." And I had this. It is a sick car. It's awesome. It has like the old school flames, but it's like a holographic flame over top of the car. So I was like, man, this is sick. And I had that, and I went to another journal entry, and I selected the next mission. And he gave me a sick car, and I was like, oh, I'm just at that part of the game where everyone's like, look at this super sick reward. I'll be like, I'm getting a sick reward like every couple of minutes. So I don't know how sick each of these
couple of minutes.
I don't know how sick these rewards really are. Which is a little unfortunate, but for the impact of them. But I don't know, that game's really cool. Like it definitely, the side missions are really well written, and they make you handle sometimes some pretty, serious shit. The mission I'm on right now, I just saved in the middle of it, is I went to go do a gig, and I thought it was just some small gig. And it's like this whole thing with a terrorist group, and you're trying to like stop the delivery of something and all this. And it's like, Jesus, usually in games, it's sort of like, go over there and like pick up the red box after pressing the green button. In Cyberpunk, it has like, all this connected web of like people calling in. Sometimes you can like leverage friendships and stuff for missions, and it's pretty cool. And these are side missions, which is pretty damn cool. There was even some post mission stuff with the end of like after you finish Phantom Liberty. I always call it Phoenix Liberty for some reason. Phantom Liberty, once you beat that, there's like some missions to like conclude that a little more. I'm not going to get into all that. So that's pretty cool. So I've been having a great time doing that. I don't know how long I'll continue. Like I kind of have this like rough goal in my head where I'm like, I'm going to clear the map. But I have a feeling one day I'm going to be like, okay, like I've played Cyberpunk, because I didn't realize that the NCPD incidents or crime scenes are actual missions that get crossed off. I thought they were randomly generated as you drove by, and that's not the case. And so when I turned that filter on my map, there's like a bajillion of them, and I'm like, man, I kind of don't want to go to like each of these alleyways or like dark like garages, see 4 people standing around a bike, I kill them without pulling a gun out, and then I walk over and pick up some evidence. Like, that's going to get boring really, really fast. So those are kind of like the low writing, let's say, missions. Those are sort of like the fetch missions almost. But I'm having a great time with Cyberpunk right now. And what else have I been doing? I got farther in that really shitty isometric Fallout game, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. And I had to do this thing where, spoilers, I guess, but I'm supposed to like protect the town. So the town, I've like progressed enough where I had to kill the mayor. And then it's like, okay, the raiders are going to attack the town now. And so they're like killing people. And so you can run around and save as many people as you can. And I'm just running out of stim packs. And it's one of those games where I don't regen health, or at least not much. And I'm sort of like, if I run out of stim packs, like, is that it? Like, am I cooked, as the kids would say?
Pretty
so
cooked.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do. So I did save when I still had quite a bit of stim packs, and then I progressed through a part, and I got all shot to shit. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to save. I'm just going to quit for now. So I quit that. And so I'm not really sure what to do. I haven't gone back to it yet, but we'll see what happens. It's okay. People like really dunked on it. I mean, it's pretty stupid. Like, I don't know why the Raider Queen has like her ass out. I don't know why the writing is as fucking aggressive as it is. Like, these people were hiding in a warehouse, which I just recently cleared out for another mission because the Raiders were attacking. They're taking shelter in there. Knock on the door. And many of the options are like, let me the fuck in. And they're like, no, I can't let you in. It's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to gut you. Let me in, you bitch. And all this. It's like, why is that I was friendly with this person. Like, why is that God? So sometimes I'll end up progressing the conversation further than I want to, because then it changes your options. And so I can like have a less aggressive sometimes. I think I had to call the mayor a fat fuck, though. That was like the nicest thing in the list. And I was like, okay, all right. So it's just like, it's like they took Fallout and they're like, okay, Fallout's kind of raunchy because it's post-apocalyptic. Okay. And then they're like, let's make it like really raunchy for like no reason. And that's what it feels like. So yeah, I don't know how far I am in it. I hope I'm far because I don't really want to play it too much longer. But I think other than a little bit of Overwatch casually, that has been my week.
Overwatch is back, baby.
That it is.
But I've also been playing Overwatch and getting quite a bit of it done, actually. Brand new season 1, Battle Pass, games as a service that's working right now, I guess.
Wouldn't know about any of that. Just join your party. Someone else is the posse boss. You guys pull me into a match, and then I play the game. I don't give a single fuck.
I like how posse boss. I don't think anyone else uses that for parties other than us.
That's from Red Dead 1, right? Yeah.
Oh no, Red Dead 2, at least for me.
Okay.
When we were playing online.
Both of them have been a while. I mean, Red Dead 2 is almost 10 years.
Oh Jesus. Oh God, man. Jesus Christ. But I kind of a couple of weird things I've been playing this week. I decided to start playing Horizon Forbidden West again.
That's weird.
So my next game I was going to play after Star Wars Outlaws was going to be Ghost of Yotei. But I thought, why don't I just dig deeper into my backlog and finish something that has been there a long time, you know? And so I just started playing that again, and I never deleted it from my console. It's been there forever, you know? And so I'm just going through that now and just gonna try to finish it. It's a big long game though, and it's a lot of dialogue, and that's kind of why I stopped the first time. Not that it wasn't a bad game, it was just like I just can't take this, you know?
Did you say you restarted it?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh my.
I restarted it so much that I overwrote my previous save with my new save. That's how committed I am to restarting this. The other weird thing I've been playing is Tomb Raider on my iPad. It just came out for iOS, and it was available on. I've been playing it on my iPad Pro with an M4 chip. I know it's an old game. It's like 2014 or 2013 or something like that. But it looks amazing and it plays flawlessly. And on an iPad display it has a double tandem OLED display, which is like two back-to-back like OLEDs. It looks gorgeous. It's crazy. So that was kind of cool. That was a nice little drop that came out of nowhere. And that's about it. I did boot up Avowed today just because there was an update.
What?
Just kind of dived into that a bit. That's also on my backlog.
Because there was an update, though, you jumped in? Like you've been keeping track of the Avowed updates?
I downloaded it, and then I was just like, I'll boot it up. All right, that's it. Tim, where can they see you streaming?
Who's Tim?
Tim, 5 days a week, twitch.tv/The Sidetrack.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like I said, doing a lot of classic WoW. I need to get doing some other games too, because it's been a lot of WoW recently, but it's been good because, you know, a lot of the community's also playing, so we're all helping each other out together. It's been a good time.
What's on the roster? What's next?
Well, it was going to be Yakuza Kiwami 3, but then they were very hypocritical with their content of their game and the casting of their actors, so I'm not going to play that game. But
you can just you should just play just just 3, like just not the remake. And the
I
remaster.
actually was thinking, because I've never actually played all the way through 3. I think I might just, because I have the like PS4 port or whatever. I'll just go back and play that.
Yeah, because that's just remastered. Like that's not Kiwami. That's just remastered.
It's just a port, yeah,
Right. Okay.
to PS4.
And then we're streaming something. We'll have to pick a new game, right?
Space Marine 2, baby.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Space
That's
Marine
right.
2.
Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/DayOnePatchMedia. All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Hey yo, peace.